Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the webinar. We will get started in just another minute or two here to give folks a chance to log in. So bear with us for just a moment and then we will get started. Okay, everybody, we're going to go ahead and get started. Just a bit of housekeeping. Wanted to let you all know that you are all automatically muted in this webinar. We will have an opportunity for questions and answers at the end. On your navigation panel for GoToWebinar on the right-hand side, there is a box for chat, or for questions, and that is where you can submit any questions that you might have at the end of the presentation. So welcome to our webinar on leveraging Google in red tide recovery. And this is brought to you in cooperation with both Visit Florida and Florida's West Coast Convention and Visitor Bureaus. My name is Kim Palmer. I am the Google Program Manager here at Miles Partnership. Many of you are probably familiar with the Miles team. We are based here in Sarasota, and we are a marketing agency specifically in the travel and tourism space, working with more than 75 destination clients around the world. And most recently, we have worked on an initiative called the Google DMO Partnership Program, where we have worked with over 60 destination marketing organizations worldwide to help improve what their destinations look like in Google's products. And in doing so, we've had an opportunity to work with thousands of travel businesses in webinars and education sessions such as this. So today's presentation is extra props to Naples there. My logo got a little covered up there, but is provided through the Tourism Recovery Grant program for Red Tide that was created by Visit Florida to help businesses in counties that have been affected by red tide. So this program is provided through that grant. And it is through a partnership with 5 of the Convention and Visitor Bureaus in our local area. The Bradenton, Sarasota, Charlotte, Lee, and Collier County Convention and Visitor Bureaus have joined together in this program to help improve what our destinations look like across Google's products. The objective of this program is to improve the quality and the accuracy available within Google's products about the affected destinations in our area. There are 2 key components of the program. The first is what you're participating in now, which is our industry education. That includes today's webinar, and it will follow with a series of workshops in locations throughout the 5 counties that will provide more in-depth tactical instruction on how to use Google My Business. I will share this again at the end of the presentation, and be sure to look for emails from the Convention Visitor Bureau in your area to register for these events. We certainly hope that all of you will join us for that tactical Google My Business training. These workshops are starting on the 31st, and there is one in each of the counties that make up this program. The second aspect of this program is content creation. And we are going to be going out into the 6 counties, into the 5 counties, and doing 360 photo spheres and Google Street View And the goal of the content creation is to offset the visibility of red tide related imagery in order to provide really accurate and a current view of what conditions are in the county and just how beautiful the market really is today. As a part of this program, we've done a very thorough audit of what these 5 counties look like in Google's travel planning products right now, looking for those impacts from red tide. And overall, sometimes we find things that look great. We have seen incredibly beautiful imagery for the beach locations, beautiful sunsets, whimsical photos on the beach, that things look really good. But there certainly has been some impact. We have found situations where folks have uploaded photos that are red tide related and certainly don't show our community in the best possible light. So today's webinar is to give you an overview of why your Google My Business listing is so important to both you, the consumers, and to our community. We want to help you maximize and optimize your exposure in Google's products. And in doing so, this will help you combat some of the impacts of what's out there in Google's products regarding red tide. Now, at the center of all Google products is the knowledge panel for your business. The knowledge panel contains everything that Google knows about your business. Now, we don't have any corn palaces here in this part of the country, but this is a great example to show you that this is sort of the comprehensive listing for a location that surfaces in Google's products. Now, depending on what product you're in, whether you're on a tablet, a mobile phone, on your desktop, that listing may take different formats. It may feature different images. It may behave a little bit differently depending on the product, but it is always based on that core information about your location. That information about your business is distributed throughout Google's products. And in fact, they are really the cornerstone of these products. They may have different features and functionality, but Google Street View, Google Hotel Finder, travel guides, the Trips app are all different ways to access information about local businesses. This is important to your business for 3 primary reasons. First of all, is that your knowledge panel is an enormous source of exposure for your business. In many cases, it is the largest source, and you may not even know that. First of all, it is quite a bit, much larger amount of screen real estate than you would typically find in your organic search results on the desktop. This can take up the whole right-hand section of the screen, and on mobile, it dominates the entire screen in that search results page. As a result, you're typically seeing much higher exposure volume than you're seeing from your typical website traffic or even for direct searches for your business. This chart compares the difference for one business, and the smaller portion is direct searches for that business by name. And you can see that more than 75% of the searches where that business listing surfaced were for what they call discovery searches. So I've put in something like Italian restaurants and have found discovery of different restaurants that meet my criteria versus searching for a business by name. This is often 3 or 4 times higher. And then if we layer in the visibility that your business receives in Google Maps, this can exponentially increase that reach even further. You can see in this example, in 1 quarter, this business listing was viewed 104,000 times in listing search and in map search. This ended up being 13 times more visibility than they saw in website traffic in that same quarter. According to Google's own research about the use of their business listings, a complete listing, one that has been well maintained and is filled out with all of the information about the business, is 7 times more likely to generate a click to that business's website. It is over 2.5 times more likely to be considered reputable by the consumer, and it is 70% more likely to result in a visit to that business location if your business listing is complete. Number 2, the information about your business gets used in a whole bunch of different places. Now, when we think Google, we think search results, or maybe we think of our Android phone or our Google Home. And that's really only the tip of the iceberg. As a business owner, you probably see a tremendous amount of your visibility and search results coming from the local 3-pack. And this is where Google features 3 businesses and a map for the locations that they feel best reflect the needs of your search. In the travel space specifically, there has been a great deal of visibility now given to the things to do listings provided by Google. If you do a things to do or what to do this weekend type of search in any city around the country, in your search results, you're going to get this featured box of top sites, which will call out 4 listings of top things to do in that market. And these, what we call top sites listings, have received increasing visibility in Google's products over the last year. If I click through to view more than just the first 4 listings, I'm taken into this map product, which will allow me to view up to 50 top points of interest, attractions, museums, parks, etc. in that market. And you guessed it, each of those listings there is the Google My Business listing for that location. Google is also heavily promoting what they call travel guides. If you do a search for a city by name, within the knowledge panel for that destination, you're going to find a link to the travel guide. And the travel guide features photography, those same top sites that we saw in the search results, as well as articles, videos, and suggested itineraries surrounding that vacation destination. Google Hotel Finder is the tool that is used to help locate and book accommodations as part of your travel. This tool got a major facelift in October of this year. It's a much more user-friendly tool. And what's great for businesses is that your accommodation is getting a lot more screen real estate in this product than it did in the previous version. You can see the listings are in this larger card format, and if I click through to any accommodation listing, I get a full screen knowledge panel for that business that has additional tabs of information for things like photos and reservations. So a great deal of screen real estate is given to accommodations through the Hotel Finder product. Google also operates something called the Trips app. This is an app for your phone that is a little bit further down the funnel. It's meant for those who are actually in market and experiencing their travel. It features the ability to save your reservations in the app. Also features things to do listings, as well as dining listings, and the ability to build your own itinerary based on the locations that you want to visit during your stay. Getting a little bit further afield, Google Assistant and voice search in general is a booming area within Google. You can't get very far without someone recommending that you buy a Google Home. And if you have an Android device, then you know that the Google Assistant is built right in to your mobile device, and you can ask it any question that you want, including travel-related questions. What are the top museums in this market? Where are the beaches? And you'll be able to see results that include the listings for those locations. You can even go so far as to do a 360 virtual tour of a location right through your phone without ever leaving the Google Assistant app. There's even more new tools on the horizon, such as Google Lens. You may have noticed they've started some television advertising even surrounding this product recently, where I can use Lens to actually do a visual search. So I can point Lens at a building or a product and see search results based on a visual match of that destination. This is really an up-and-coming area in Google search, but if the match happens to be for a business location, guess what the result is going to be? It's going to be your Google business listing. In fact, we think this technology is going to become so sophisticated that within a year or two, you might be able to take a picture of a particular dish or a particular piece of artwork and find out where it comes from in the location that you're visiting. Google Street View is where we are able to explore both the roads and the surrounding areas in a market in 360-degree views. I'm sure many of you have used this product either through Google Maps or through the Google Street View app when you are exploring a new market to kind of see what the road looks like on the way to get from A to B, or to explore what various beaches, etc. look like. As a part of this program, we are going to be creating a great deal of 360-degree content that is going to be submitted to Street View so that visitors can see just how beautiful our beaches are right now. Overall, Google Maps is a product that I don't think gets enough credit for how much travel planning takes place within it. We use it a lot on a day-to-day basis for wayfinding, but when you're exploring somewhere new, you're going to want to see what attractions are around your accommodation. What can you get to by walking, or do you need to take a car? People are using Google Maps to answer all of those questions, and as they are exploring, they are encountering Google My Business listings wherever they go. Same is true of Google Earth. While this is a much more visually rich application, again, if I zoom in there, I'm going to be seeing individual business listings in the locations overlaid with the Google Earth satellite imagery. Finally, Google's business listing content is also available through its API, and that means that other organizations can use that data for their own applications and purposes. A great example of that is Waze. Maybe you guys use Waze when traveling about, and all the business listings that you see within Waze are actually pulled out of the Google API. And in fact, Google has thousands of API customers. Everyone from Walt Disney to Allstate Insurance are using Google business listing data in their own application, which is, once again, an even further distribution of your business listing information. So number 3, much of the information, believe it or not, in your business listing is coming from your customers and not from you. And this is because Google has a program called Local Guides. There are over 50 million local guides on a worldwide basis. And local guides are people like you and me who want to share their experiences with the businesses that they interact with. And many go so far as to add missing places to the maps of places where they visited. Now, if you have an Android phone, or particularly if you have a Google Pixel phone, you may have received some of these prompts that ask you, do you know this place? Are they closed at 9 p.m. today? Is this family friendly? Is this which one of these photos is the best photo representative of this location? This is the Google Local Guides program in action. This is where Google is crowdsourcing the actual customers of businesses in order to keep the information about that listing as current as possible. In the absence of a business maintaining its own business listing information, it is going to be this customer-driven data that is the representation of the business. Google Local Guides can contribute a really vast variety of content to a business listing. They can write reviews. They can upload photos, videos in 360. They can rate the business, answer questions, edit facts, suggest edits to facts, and answer questions about the business. And in fact, Google has gamified the program so that as a user, I'm actually getting points for doing things like writing a review or submitting a photo. And I even get badges for doing so many reviews or being a trusted photographer in my area. If you're looking at the photo gallery for your business or anywhere in the market, up in the upper left-hand corner there is where you will see the credit for those images. Now, the CVBs that are a part of this program will be contributing imagery throughout the market, and you may see your local visitor bureau as the credit, as the local guide for some of the great content we're going to be putting out there in the market. But this is where the local guides get the credit for their listings. You can see this gentleman here contributed over 200 photos in his local area that have received over 15 million views by Google users. If you're on your phone and you're wondering how that happens, under Google Maps in your contributions, you'll see a button that says this is where you can add your photos to the maps. And this is where you see that user-generated content for the locations throughout Google's products. So those are 3 reasons why your Google My Business listing is so incredibly important to your business and the reach that it has to consumers, both locals and those who are planning to travel or are actively traveling in our market. So I'm going to wrap this up with a quick checklist for you about what to look for in your Google My Business listing. We're hoping that all of you will attend the in-person workshops that we're going to be hosting, where we're going to do some real tactical training on Google My Business. But these will give you some tips to start with of things to take a look at. First and foremost, you need to make sure that you've actually claimed your business. The gateway to being able to access Google My Business and manage your business information is to claim your business, which is a series of security steps to prove that you are the rightful representative of that business. If you search your business on Google and look at your knowledge panel, if you see this little shield with a check mark that says claim the business, this means that this location has not been claimed and is not being actively managed by the business. To claim the listing, you're going to have to receive a security code either through a postcard or a phone call. And this can often be problematic for businesses. So we also wanted to let everyone know that at the in-person workshops, we are going to be offering the ability to claim your business listing in person at the event and bypass the postcard or the phone call process. I'll tell you a little bit more about what is needed to participate in that at the end of the webinar. So to access your Google My Business dashboard, you go to business.google.com. We highly recommend that you log into this dashboard at least once a month to keep an eye on what's going on with your business. This is what the login page looks like, and you can click into sign in or manage now. You can also, if you are logged into the Google account associated with your Google My Business listing, you can also just do a search for your business name, and you'll get this little fast and easy dialogue for managing your business where you can make quick edits, write posts, and add photos directly out of the search results page in your web browser. Make sure that your basic information is both complete and up to date. This is done through the Info tab, where you can edit your business name, what category or categories your business belongs in, address, phone number, website, hours, and description are all parts of the information that can be edited in this area. One of the most important features in this area is your hours. Hours is the #1 thing that visitors are searching for about a business. Are you open right now? When are you open tomorrow morning? When do you close tonight? Particularly if your hours change seasonally, or if there are special occasions in which your hours are going to be different, making sure you're logging in here and keeping this hours information up to date can be critically important. In addition, hours are now displayed as quick answers in search results with no other links to any other websites or additional information. It just answers the question of what the hours are for the coffee company here. And if you're using a Google Voice Assistant or a Google Home, this answer is actually the spoken response from the Google Assistant. Check your photos, because sometimes user-generated content is not what it's cracked up to be. This is an actual example of a photo that was updated and became the cover photo for a hotel that has since been remodeled and reopened. But this is the type of thing to keep an eye out for. So under the Photos tab, in addition to contributing your own quality imagery on a regular basis, you also want to keep an eye on those images that have been uploaded by your customers. You do have recourse if there are, pictures of seaweed or dead fish or things that we don't want to see in your listing. We have an opportunity to do something about it, because across the board, listings with quality photos are twice as likely to generate engagement with their customers. You have the opportunity to report photos that are both inaccurate or irrelevant. You flag them to the community, and you have a couple options here as to reasons you want the photo to be removed, but poor quality is grounds enough to ask for a photo to be removed from your listing. We are in the process of doing the same program in Puerto Rico in response to the hurricane there. And this is a great example of what maintaining photos can do to improve the appearance of your listing. Which beach would you visit? This is the exact same Google listing for the beach, both after the hurricane and before we went down there and shot new photography. And you can see that that listing has now been updated with more current images, which really showcase what the destination looks like now, not what folks are afraid that it looks like. We also recommend that you check your insights data in order to get a better understanding of how customers see your business. You saw me reference some of these at the beginning of this presentation, but this is where you find the numbers that apply to your business. How frequently are you coming up in direct searches versus discovery searches? How often are you showing up in search or in Google Maps results? These can often be incredibly high numbers and worth keeping an eye on, because they are also not statistics that are available through your Google Analytics. They are unique to the Google My Business platform. We also have a great opportunity through Google My Business to respond to reviews from customers. We're going to talk about both this and questions and answers in more detail in the workshops. But this is an area of our research that we have seen is where we're seeing a lot of impact from red tide. When you are logged into your Google My Business listing, there's a reviews section where you can post a reply to any review that you have received. This is particularly important if you've gotten a low-star review. And in fact, only getting a few very poor reviews can often have a big impact on how your listing shows up in search results and in things like the local 3-pack. These are just some of examples of some of the red tide related impact we've seen, where folks have given locations 1- and 2-star reviews because there have been effects of red tide in the area. Now, this isn't particularly fair since this isn't sort of out of your control, and those low reviews can often impact how you're listed. So we will talk in the workshops a little bit more about techniques for both responding to reviews and answering questions so that the most current information about conditions in your area is what is surfacing. Another great way to do that is through posts. Posts are free, and they expand the real estate in your knowledge panel in such a way that lets you feature events, special offers, and also information about current conditions. In Google My Business, it's found underneath posts. You can upload photos, and as I said, feature an event, special offer, etc. And it will show up right here in your knowledge panel. sort of like free advertising, really. We think this can really help out businesses that are feeling that there are concerns from their customers about what conditions are like in the area. You can do just an informational update and a current photo that lets folks know that there is no red tide in your area, as well as things like promoting events and special offers. So to get us started, leading into the workshops, these are our tips for utilizing Google My Business. Make sure you've claimed your business and that you're accessing that Google My Business dashboard at least once a month. Make sure your basic information is up to date. Check your photos. In addition to uploading your own photos frequently, keeping an eye on that user-generated content. Checking your insights data to get a better understanding of how customers see your business. Responding to reviews, and really making the most out of that post feature to communicate with your customers. We're really looking forward to meeting each of you in person at the Google My Business workshops. There's one workshop in each of the 5 counties that are participating in this program. The first starts in January 31st in Fort Myers at the Lee County CVB offices. February 1st, we will be at the Waverly Restaurant in Charlotte County on Manasota Key. On February 4th, we will be in Sarasota at Marina Jack's. On February 5th, we will be at the Manatee Community Foundation in Bradenton. And on February 7th, we will be making the presentation in Naples, with some more information to come about the time and location of that presentation. You will definitely, if you haven't already, see communication from your CVB about how to register for these events, and we're really looking forward to it. We are going to be providing tactical training on how to leverage Google My Business in obtaining and responding to reviews, how to improve your photography, add 360 images and video, how to get poor photos removed from your listing, getting the most out of posts and the Q&A, and we'll talk about some of the unique opportunities by business types, such as for accommodations versus restaurants. As I mentioned, we will also be offering instant verification for your business at these workshops. So if your business isn't verified or you've lost access to your business listing, we'll be able to help you. There are 2 things that you need to bring in order to participate in instant verification. We will need a documentation that proves that you are the rightful representative of the business, either a utility bill, tax letter, or business registration certificate. And you also need to be able to log into your Google My Business account. So you will need the email address and the password for your Google account to be able to log into in order to claim that listing. So I wanted to thank everybody for your time today. We do have a good amount of time here for questions. So take a look at the questions panel here in GoToWebinar and let me know. I will keep an eye on it and see what kind of questions we have here. Oh, I've got a lot of them. And a few of these are specific questions about the workshops. Do know that you will be hearing from your local CVB about how to register for those. One question is about not being able to change the description. You should be, unless you are an accommodation, within the information tab on the left-hand side, sort of underneath the address and phone number, should be the link with a little pencil next to it, meaning that you can edit it where you can write your own description. However, this feature is not available to accommodations. You'll find that in a couple different things with accommodations. Posts is also not available to accommodations because Google treats accommodation listings as completely different from all other sorts of businesses. So they function a little bit differently in the product. We have a question about a nonprofit who doesn't have a brick and mortar address. This is a little bit tricky. In this specific case, the question is regarding a park. So if you are the rightful representative of the park, you can use the park's address and claim the listing using the park's address. If you want to have your organization have a listing, but you don't want your address displayed, you do have to pick a physical address. You can't use a P.O. box, so it may have to be someone's home or sort of an office location. But when you register, there's a checkbox there that says, I provide goods and services. I deliver goods and services, which is a little misleading because you don't have to actually physically deliver anything for that to be applicable. If you select that button, and you can choose the mile radius that is applicable to your business, and when you have that selected, your physical address will not ever show anywhere in Google Business Listings, but you will have a listing. This is really relevant for folks who are tour guides or wedding planners as well. And regarding hotel details, again, hotels have a slightly different interface of what you can and cannot edit. Hotels do have an amenities button where you can choose whether or not you have various amenities like a restaurant on site, a pool, or golf, childcare, etc. But you are not able to write your own description, and you do not have posts. I have a question about if you have a hotel and a restaurant, should you split them? Yes. In the Miles also assists a number of resorts around the state in managing their Google My Business. And when we do so for a property that has multiple kind of sub-businesses within the property, we do establish a Google My Business listing for everyone. So if you are a hotel, but you also have a restaurant or a spa or a golf course, we do recommend that you create a listing for each of those. That really gives you the power to control the information in more detail. And if you're, as I mentioned, hotels have some limitations on things like posts that something like a restaurant would not. So a lot of our clients will promote specials that are happening at the spa or at the restaurant using posts, which you couldn't do through the main resort listing. I have a question about a copy of this presentation. Yes, we are going to be providing the CVBs who are a part of this program with a copy of this presentation deck, as well as a recording of this webinar to share with those who couldn't join us today, or if you just feel like listening to it again. So we also had a question regarding what is Google doing in regards to the red tide, and really what is happening is what is the community doing to manage what the destination looks like on Google in response to red tide. Google is providing their tools and their products, but it's what we're doing as a community that's going to impact what we look like, and that's a combination of the content creation we'll be doing and uploading to Google's products, which is going to demonstrate the recovery, as well as more recent imagery helps sort of suppress older imagery. to demonstrate what the destination looks like now. So the question was, where will Google get their information from? Google will get their information from us, from you guys in how you manage your individual business listings, and from the Convention and Visitor Bureaus in the content that they contribute to Google's products. It had a question about a business was claimed, but then that fell through, and they're having to request it again. I don't know that I can tell you exactly why that happens, but we do see periodically if something isn't managed or there's become a question on Google's side, that something will get kicked back out of the system and have to go through the process again. I would have to do a little more research to tell you exactly why that happens, but one thing we have seen recently is that businesses will get claimed and then almost immediately be suspended until they provide a photograph of sort of like their front entrance to prove that they have a location that customers can come to. They seem to be cracking down on that a little bit. So we've had a couple instances of businesses who have claimed it, but then been suspended and had to reach out to customer support, answer a couple questions in order to actually get into that listing. Also, okay, so we've answered the questions about sharing this information. In terms of trying to get a listing that's been claimed by a previous employee, that is probably the trickiest one to have to address. The first step is that you have to fill out the form requesting that email address give you access. If that is no longer a valid email address, if it is completely defunct or that person is never going to respond to you, you ultimately have to reach out to customer service and file a request to take that listing, and they will try multiple times to communicate with who supposedly has claimed the listing, and then if they are unsuccessful, they will ultimately can choose to turn it over to someone else who can prove that they are their that they are the business representatives. And I think across the board, some of the best ways that we can use Google products to help stem the negativity around red tide is to keep our eyes open for those mentions. And across Google's products, there's typically a way to either respond to a question, respond to a review in a way that provides more current and accurate information to stem those concerns. And it is also possible to flag things like photos for removal for being of poor quality, and addressing it in those sorts of ways where we are really helping to sort of monitor what is going on in our community and provide more current both imagery and responses. So I think I have covered all of the questions at this point. Hope this has been helpful for everyone. We are really looking forward to the opportunity to do the Google My Business Tactical Training with you in the next couple of weeks. So please make sure to register for your workshop. Again, big thanks to the Bradenton, Anna Maria Island, and Longboat Key CVB the Punta Gorda, Inglewood Beach, CVB, Visit Sarasota, Naples, Marco Island, and the Everglades, and to the Lee County Visitor Bureau. We are very excited to be working with everyone through this grant program with Visit Florida and helping our community recover from the impacts of red tide. Thank you so much and have a great afternoon.